Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a basic video, and today's video is going to be all about breadboards. How you make a connection, how they are connected together, what are power lines, what are these connection lines, and how you make a simple connection. It's all going to be about this. That's breadboarding is basically known as solderless breadboarding or solderless connection because they are connected internally. Let's look at inside of this breadboard. So if you were to look at your breadboard, you have lines which are connected horizontally, and these are called power lines. This is for example, if you were to apply VCC here, the entire line will fire up, and if you were to apply your ground or VCC, the entire line will fire up. They are connected horizontally, and the way they are connected is like this. You have this entire piece of metal which is making connection of these power lines like this. Now, the common mistake that I see people make is this. If you were to look at your power line, and you will see a gap which is normally bigger than this gap between these power lines. You can see there's a gap, but this gap is a little bit bigger. So when you fire up this power line, this will horizontally fire up all the holes which are there up till here. Because now if you want to fire up these power lines on your right hand side, then I'm moving my pin, you have to make a connection, you have to apply a connection, and you can clearly see this on the back of the board right here. See, these are fired up horizontally, and now when you want to make a connection, you want to fire up these lines as well, you have to make a series connection. Take a piece of wire, take a jumper wire, make a connection, and then this line will be powered up. They are not connected vertically, so these power lines are not connected vertically. You can see it from the back clearly that they are not vertically connected. So this is one power line, and you mind the gap. This is the gap. This is the gap. This gap is much bigger as compared to this. This is the most common mistake that a student or anyone who's start breadboarding makes. They assume that when you apply a power on this line, this entire line is firing up. Nope. You have to make a connection, and you can clearly see that on the back. They are not physically connected. These are just metal piece of wire with inserts built in. So let's look at the insert. I'll show you one of these, and let me explain this. Now, these that you normally see, they are connection lines, and they are vertically energized. So when you apply voltage here, when you apply a connection, when you give a connection, this entire line will fire up. But because there is a gap, they are not connected. These lines are not connected to this. So if you want to apply power here on this vertical line, you have to take a jumper and then make a connection like this. Take a jumper and then connect both of these holes together using a jumper. And you can clearly see this on the back of it, that they are not physically connected. These power lines are horizontally energized, and these are vertically energized, but they are not connected to each other. Now when you look at it, you take one of these guys out, you can clearly see you have a connection that looks like this. So on the back it looks like this, and this is where you will insert your pins. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the places where you have to insert them. So this is how your breadboarding will work, and this is how the back of the inside of your breadboard looks like. So in order for you, okay, so now whenever you're working with a breadboard, never hold your breadboard like this. Always hold it like this, or always place it like this. Here you can apply, let's say if you want to give 5 volts or whatever, however many voltages you want to give, this is going to be your power line. You can give connections from a jumper like this. So for example, if I apply here, then this entire line is fired up. Alright, and if I were to apply it here, this entire line will fire up until here. So if you want to make a connection, If you would like to make a connection from here to here, you have to take a jumper and connect it like this. Now, when I apply my positive voltage or whatever ground, this entire line is fired up. This is the important thing that you have to remember. Now, you can also check and see. I want to do a small test just to show you that indeed these lines which are vertically connected like this, all right, they are not horizontally connected to these holes. All right, they are just vertically fired up. You can clearly see it from the back. They are not physically connected to each other, but they are vertically connected to each other. So if this line is fired up and you make another connection on the same line, what do you get? You'll get a continuity test. You'll get a continuous beep. Let's try this. So basically what I've done, that people normally do make a mistake, that because they don't know about breadboarding. Let's say I make a connection here. If I do the connection here, unless and until it's a requirement by your circuit, that's a different story. But if I were to apply my continuity test, move my probe to this setting, uh, and then if I were to just simply check and see, you will see it's like a same connection. It's just like doing it like this. So there is a continuity because you are actually connected to the same hole. You can do exactly the same thing on this side as well. So for example, if you make a connection here, can make a connection here. If you were to do the continuity test, you will get the same type of beat. So always remember this. This is what I wanted to show you guys. The most important mistake that I've seen is actually the gap mistake. The gap mistake and things like that. All right. I don't like to use this breadboard because the holes are quite small. Because if I had a resistor like this that has a very thick piece of this wire is quite thick, I won't be able to insert it. Normally I have hard time, but having a old school board like this, you have a working place here, you have a power rail associated with this, or you can use this power rail to fire up the entire circuit. If your circuit is bigger, then you have a working place here, working place here. All right, this gap is normally there when you want to insert a chip. When you have an IC that you want to insert, you can use, this is the gap that we normally use to actually insert your ICs and things like that. Because in ICs you have VCC and then you have to provide ground. So this is actually provide a good isolation because these are not physically connected to each other, just like we have seen it here. So this line is only powering up these 5 holes, and rest it's not physically connected, as you can clearly see. So I hope you like this small tutorial on breadboard, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.